thing here is very simple. If you're a property target, it means your financial interest is at stake, and not just that. If you lose this financial interest, you will become a second part of the targeting, or sometimes you actually first thing of a part targeting, but taking away your resources is going to be the second part. So what you have here is highly likely that by targeting your real estate or place of dwelling, gang stalkers wants to be homeless. So there's a right there. It's big red flag about it. The you see, the people on the street and see what's happening with them now. So you don't want to be one of those. And so there's a signs of trouble you can have before, way, way before. So in the previous video I said, catalog your stuff. You have to have a minimalist type of start over kit where you go. It doesn't matter if you are in rent only one small apartment or you end up living with someone else. Doesn't matter. You still have to have your own startup kit. You know what I mean? And it's very, very comfortable because you don't have to worry. It's sometimes big property waits on you big time because you're so sorry if you lose a lot of stuff because you have to evacuate really fast. Okay. And then there's another thing. It's as I said, there's cataloging your properties. As I said in the previous video, uh, catalog all your properties under £1. This way, you can practically open. Already, you have a lot of items for your eBay. So if you have stuff like this, you can have constant income. All you have to do is make sure, for instance, you set up a return address with some of your friends and somebody that you know. So for instance, you send to a post office, but in case of return of your items, they can go to someone else's property and either then you agree to throw them away. This thing you can throw away and you don't want to start resetting things again. So after a while, you kind of become eBayer in a way. And it's done simply because you already have your items. You don't have to go to any of garage sales and so you have your own items and you sell them. But my point here is you have already items that you spend your money on, and if you catalog them properly, you can sell them as possible income, even if you are homeless. Why? Because all you do, you have a storage area of some kind that you rent or you buy for a year, and then you just go there in this place you store set of clothing by season, right? And then you store set of specific situation, which is actually our underwear, socks, and so on. So you practically do it like a military style. You go in and you have all the sort of stuff that you can exchange, okay, momentarily. Simply go there and exchange and the rest and put on and walk away.
Well, here's the fast insert here. If you watch the shows about storage areas wars and stuff like this, people beat to open somebody else's storage areas and so on and so on. This is a dangerous part. Usually, when people censor that something happens with them, and they can lose their house or apartment and so on. So what they do, they go and buy or rent for a very long time some of those boxes, storage areas, and they put their boxes in, take them away because somebody failed to pay several months. You see, this is one of those very unpleasant things but I have to talk about it. So that's why I created this insert. I hope it doesn't interrupt the flow. But if you're gang stalked and you're attacked regarding your home, not just the finances but in general, if they force you out of it, first couple of months, even more, you will be under enormous pressure, psychological, to deal with the situations of losing of a house, or in general sometimes even just simply place to live. But this is exactly the time when you see the gang stalkers. They're gonna attack you most furious in this particular time, because your mind is absolutely in a different place. You worry about yourself, you worry about your family, you worry about this, you worry about that. So you don't want even think about gang stalking. This is exactly the time when people got hit hardest. And you see these shows, and you see how people, save their house, not houses, stuff from the houses. Some of them really need, some of them just kind of throw them all away. But this is the point. Why those people do not pay after? Because they're going to be, in a way, a form of war against them after they leave the apartments or houses and so on. The gang stalkers will try to force you practically to become homeless. This is done on purpose, because this is what the war is for targeted individuals. And you will have a problem. And when you look at these situations, you will see that people lose stuff like this. So you have to make sure that you have everything in order, and if prepaid and ready for a very long time ahead, that you don't lose this thing, that you can go back and recover whatever is yours. And if you do like eBay, you have to have their printer, you have to have their, some kind of a connection that you can print. So, and plus the stuff that you put in the boxes and catalog. And it takes a lot of time to plan ahead, but sometimes you cannot deal with it because, for instance, some of the storage areas are paid for a year up to a certain amount of money, or it can be paid monthly, but if the person who is targeted individual loses income, then it becomes a problem. And if they fail to pay a certain amount or certain months in a row, they'll be thrown away from the from the storage areas, and you can practically lose everything, whatever is there. So you have to make sure that you plan ahead a very long time.
So but I hope, as I said, I hope it don't go this way. Why? Because what is the best thing to do if you are, um, in a danger to lose your dwelling area, house, apartment, whatever, and do research in your neighborhood, or not just your neighborhood, in your state, um, like where the cheapest housing is. You know, where the cheapest housing is, but it's not exactly, sometimes can be good, because usually cheapest housing draws criminal element, or people who are really poor, and you can kind of get yourself in trouble without, just going to be robbed or something. But it's not always. For instance, if you take Georgia, here in Atlanta, yeah, which is back area, it's almost impossible to get apartments anymore, cheap. The same thing, you have to go either north or you have to go south. In the south, there's different communities you can have.
Well, here's another fast insert. When we're talking about small communities, very often they're really low income. Okay, not just that, they're small, and what sometimes happens is people don't like very often then don't like strangers, and nobody cares if you have a problem and you come to the smaller city because it's cheaper for you to live. You can face, I'm not talking about Georgia or Utah or anybody, it's actually really common. And because people kind of live in communities, and this is what happens is there is always people can be hostile to you. physically. I'm not talking about practically confronting you, things like this. And even though, as I said, you can be a wonderful person, but for them, you're kind of a newcomer, and it's not always good as you think it can be. Community policing of some kind, kind of can harass you in a way, or even like until they confirm your identity, you can be a very suspicious person for them, and so on and so on and so on. I unfortunately had one situation like this a long time ago. I'm not going to talk when and where, but I actually personally went through it. It never went like, in the movies, like in the Rambo, remember?
Remember the Rambo, the First Blood, when the sheriff didn't want a homeless guy there and all started these fights? Well, you know what I mean? I hope it doesn't happen, but what I want to say is this is an option. If you have some kind of an income outside, but it's not enough for your place where you live now when you're targeted. Some people have, as I said, some people have passive income. Some people write stuff. Some people sell things. So go in an area where they're really, really cheap living, even though there's nothing more there than just cheap living. But it will help you to rejuvenate yourself, to have a roof over your head without worry that you're going to be robbed either on the street or in a shelter. You see, the shelters are, even though they present them the way, oh, how nice it is. Yeah, I mean, that sometimes defeats people. Yes, they do. But when you stay there, there's a group of people. They are gang stalkers. They look for fresh people from the that go to the market of homelessness. It sounds horrible. What they do, they rob them of their personal items, which related to identity. They rob them of whatever they have, and sometimes simply, I mean, better not to even approach them because people don't know. The most important part, people don't know who they work for. They always clean nice and everything, but as I said, it's a force, enforcers in a way, enforcers. It's a scam within the homeless that actually target specific people. And I was talking about when people become homeless. Sometimes they're made homeless through a gang stalking on purpose. And those people who are, as I have just talked about, they're waiting for the new people who were gang stalked who end up in a homeless population. They wait for them. They have specific orders what to do with the newcomers. They already they know they were coming. Today this one and this one's coming. Okay. So that's what it is, and you have to have a plan in a way that it's. I would call it. I would call it uh, really important that you have to stick to. You have to have a whole bunch of things that you need to know. The I would say if you are in danger of becoming a person with no residency, specific residency, or homeless, as people say, actually you have to be aware of things that are going on around you. And in this case, as I said, you have to make sure that you're already well in advance about it. So, I'm sorry. I hope this is it for today. I will. So I have these 4 videos for. I recorded them on one kind of right away without doing any type of cutting. I'm not going to do jump cuts today because I have no time for today anymore. But here you go. This is more 4 videos for gang stalking and real estate.